Welcome to Listen to the Stars. My name is Nicole Brenny. Listen to the Stars is a new channel here that I just started because I live kind of isolated from the world and I wanted to connect with interesting people that are into the things that I'm interested in. So if you're watching and you're really into Jyotish, which would be Vedic astrology, tarot, any kind of divination at all, cards of truth, which is reading playing cards, if you're interested in Kundalini yoga, eating healthy, anything along those lines, this is the channel for you and you are my new friend. Because living an isolated life, you just need to have people around you. So that's why I made this channel. I just spent all day studying and making music, so anyways, here I am today. I'm going to talk about my Kundalini awakening experience. And for those of you that don't know what that is, I would just Google it. Maybe I'll make another video and talk about like what actually goes on with that. But I'm going to tell you what my Kundalini awakening experience was, and maybe I'll make some videos about like updates on it because now I do practice Kundalini yoga regularly and I keep having different experiences along the way that are almost as intense as the first Kundalini awakening experience. So this story starts when I was 22. When I was 22, I just moved into an apartment with my little sister, and I was in a band before this, but I decided to break up the band because I was breaking up with my boyfriend that I was in the band with, and I decided to start making music on my own, and this was very difficult for me to get myself to do because I had a lot of fears about being able to make music on my own. And like I grew up in the country where it was very sexist. I just thought that women couldn't really do anything. Like I knew deep down that they could, and I always fought for equal rights with like not having to make my brother sandwiches. But I don't know. I was just very discouraged from doing anything that I really wanted to do because of the culture of where I grew up, and then just the fact that my family didn't have a lot of money. So it was a very difficult switch for me, and I was starting to go through like a lot of mental and emotional processes while I was making music. Like it was very healing for me because I was proving to myself that I didn't need a man to make my dreams a reality, and I didn't need to rely on someone else to have a creative vision. Like this was one of the first times in my life where my creativity was really coming into its own on its own. So I was starting to make music for the very first time on my own. It was a very personal, painful process. Sometimes I would be recording and then just stop and start crying. It was crazy. And I think I was really clearing up a lot of different stuff. And in the meantime, I decided that this album was going to be like a themed album, a conceptual album, where I was going to go through all the different chakras, starting with the root chakra. And this was just an idea that came into my mind. I had talked to my friend James about it a little bit, and I think he might have even encouraged it. But I started with the root chakra, and so every song that I would make, I would dedicate to one chakra. And while I was making that song, I would really concentrate and focus and learn about that chakra. So I started with the root chakra, and then I moved up and up and up and up. And so that first, between working on the root chakra and the sacral chakra, I started to just get these like crazy dreams. So it was really intense, and it was really fun to like review all that I knew about the chakras. But sorry, this chair kind of creaks. But during the root chakra, sacral chakra time, I can't remember exactly what, I would just kind of get tired all of a sudden and have to take naps. And I was doing yoga at the time, but not very often. And I had done yoga previously, so there was some physical things I had worked on as well, just to preface. But I took a nap, and during that nap, and I would do this often, just like in the middle of recording, go and take a nap, and then like I would sometimes hear songs in my dreams, and then I would wake up and try to record the songs that I heard. So I kind of was like, oh, I'm running out of ideas, I'm getting tired, so I'm going to take a nap to try to rejuvenate myself. And during that nap, I had the craziest dream. But it wasn't a dream because it felt very real. It felt more real than the reality I'm seeing here, you know? In that dream, there was a huge bonfire with all of my relatives all around me, and it was nighttime, so a huge bonfire with every single relative, like my dad and his brothers and sisters, and my mom and her sister, and just everyone, and relatives that I didn't even know existed. And they were all playing drums. And just kind of like, they were all dancing around the fire playing drums. It was really intense, and it was beautiful, beautiful music, and they were all singing. And I just was kind of standing on this hill watching them and listening to the music and not really knowing what was going on. And I was about to approach the fire when all of a sudden these snakes, and they were red and white striped, these snakes slithered, and there was like one in the front and a bunch of them in the back. Like, I'm trying to think of what it would be, but it just looked very like, it looked like the snake in the front was the most important. Like if you were gonna see a king and a queen walking, they have all the people behind them. That's what it was, because the snake approached me, and the snake actually had a huge crown on its head. So it was a big snake with a crown on its head. It was red and white striped. And the snake handed me this book. And I opened up the book, and it was filled with music and filled with lyrics and words, and I didn't even know what the words meant. But when I looked at them, I knew what they meant, and they all just sort of absorbed into me. And so as I looked, I could hear the music and understand all the words and the writing, and the pages just started flipping really, 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 really fast until all of the pages flipped and the book closed, and I just felt whoosh, like I just downloaded a bunch of information. And after that, I telepathically, this is literally, telepathically the snake said to me, you are our friend, you are one of us, or like, you're our friend, we accept you, we're giving you this gift. It was so beautiful. And then the snake like went behind me and just laid along my spine. So he basically, like, his tail was at the tail of, or not his tail, but the lower part of him was at the base of my spine. And then he laid himself across all the way to the top of my head, and the crown that was on his head moved to my head. And I just felt this like bolt and surge of energy going from the base of my spine to the crown chakra, where the crown ended up being. It was the most powerful thing I've ever experienced in my life. And then I heard this amazing song, and the snake, left, and I just knew that now we had this alliance and this friendship, and I felt completely different, and all the music from that book was just like flowing through me, and we were just playing drums and singing and dancing to this like song around the fire. And when I woke up, I like almost wanted to cry because I just felt so different. And I also had like a pain at the base of my spine. It was so intense and so amazing, and I never felt the same since. And I had so much creativity that for like 3 or 4 years I didn't stop making music. And so that is what happened. And the weird thing is that I didn't even really know what Kundalini was. So after that dream, I just knew it was a spiritual experience. I knew it was important. Like there was some kind of telepathic transmission that happened, that I understood that what was happening was very special. And so I started researching spiritual experiences plus snake, plus the color red, plus the color white, and just trying to piece it together. And I found out, and I even talked about the root chakra because I knew I had been meditating and reading about the root chakra. And I found out that, yes, this was indeed a Kundalini experience, and sometimes people have Kundalini awakenings in their sleep. And it was so foreign to me, and I just thought, wow, that is crazy that I experienced that without even knowing what it was. So, and before that, I had been meditating for 12 years, I think, and doing yoga and stuff like that. So it's weird, I had never really heard about Kundalini. But you have to think that that was almost 6 years ago, and there was less information on the internet. There was less of a spiritual, online community about this stuff. So I just wanted to share my Kundalini awakening experience, try to make this as short as possible, and in future videos I'll talk about some updates, and I hope that you will share your Kundalini awakening experience in the comments. I can't help but
see.